Okay.
Okay.
So can you tell me about the OOPS concepts?
So we have like a inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, and abstraction. These are the main pillars of the OOPS concept. So other than this, all the classes, objects, methods, constructs, everything will comes under the OOPS concepts only. But we have only four. Why we always highlight these four? These are like kind of help our Java program to enhance to the next extension. So inheritance means acquiring one class properties to another class, that is called inheritance. And we have a couple of inheritances are like a simple inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. Now, when it comes to the abstraction, abstraction can be achieved by the two ways. One is by abstract classes and then interfaces. When it comes to the encapsulation, encapsulation means wrapping up everything in as one unit, and you provide the users with the public status and getters method. And other than that, we have this polymorphism. So polymorphism means poly means many, morph means form, many forms. So there are two types of polymorphisms: are there compiled type polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. When it comes to the compiled type polymorphism, method overloading is the best example for that, or functional overloading.
Got it.
Method
Yeah, got it. So can you differentiate? Can you tell me like when do you use abstract class and when do you use interface?
So most of the cases we always use this interfaces. Now, if you can see the why we have to use this abstract class. For example, let's say if I simply want to extend only one single class, I have no requirement of extending to another class or extending or implementing another thing. So in such case, I'll go with the abstract class. Also, we can able to define the certain non concrete methods in abstract class also. I have a requirement where I need to be both abstract methods has to be there and concrete methods has to be there. Then I can go with the abstract class. Now, when it comes to the interface, we don't have that option. We always have to define the abstract methods. In the recent update, we can have define the default methods and static methods inside an interface.
Okay, that's good. So can you tell me what are all the class loaders we have in JVM?
So we have a three class loader: bootstrap class loader, and context class loader, and application class loader.
Okay. So how it delegates the the loading of the class?
I believe this is coming from the bootstrap,
Okay.
and then go to the context and then application.
Okay. So what is the difference between string builder, string buffer, and string in Java?
So string is a immutable object. String buffer and string builders are mutable objects. String buffer is a thread safe. String builder is not thread safe. String buffer has been introduced in the Java first version. Now string builder has been introduced in Java 1.6, and string builder string buffer is from Java package, and string also that is coming from the java.lang package. So these are all the main like the differences between those.
Okay. So can you name few methods available on object class?
Yeah, I can name most of it. Like a wait. There are three wait methods. Those are like overloaded method, and we have like notify all, and then we have like a clone method, and we have like a dot equals method, hash code method, and there was a finalized method was there. Now it has been deprecated in the latest versions of Java.
What is use of hash code method in object class?
So it will try to return the object state of that. For example, if we create any object, it will try to return the address of it. So the address of it is generated by the hash code.
Okay. So can you name few collections API you have used?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Collections
Correct.
classes. Yeah.
So we have a main collection interface. From the collection interface, we have a list queue set, and from the list we have like array list, linked list, and vector stack. From the queue we have the priority queue, array deck, and we have like this linked list is been implemented from the queue interface as well as the list interface. Now we have the set interface, hash set, linked hash set, and tree set. Other than that, we have the map interface. From the map, we have the hash map, linked hash map, and tree map hash taken.
Okay, what is the difference between vector and array list?
So vector works on the LIFO format, like it will be working on the last in first out, whereas in the array list, it will be mostly based out of the index kind of a thing. Now, for example, if you see in the array list and vector, there are a couple of methods has been introduced in the vector, like a pop method, tool method, and these methods has been introduced in the vector class.
Okay, what's the difference between array list and linked list?
So array list is implemented by the list interface, whereas the linked list is implemented by the two interfaces, queue and the list. And the array list, like linked list is achieving the multiple inheritance with the help of these two interfaces. And other than that, linked list will be working on the node based kind of a thing. Now array list mostly worked on the index based kind of a thing. Now in the linked list we have like a singularly linked, dually linked, and a circularly linked. Now in the linked list, if you see that data will be stored based on the nodes, and each node will contain the address of the previous node, address of the next node, and the value we are trying to insert.
Got it.
Other than that, since it is implementing from the queue interface, we have a couple of methods are there: pull first, pull last, remove last, add first, add last, and remove first, remove last. Like these kind of methods are there inside the linked list. These methods are not available inside the array list.
Okay, so when do you use linked list? When do you use array list?
Well, actually, it's not like straightforward answer. Okay, like it's like a mix and match kind of a thing. For example, if you want to use for certain operations, we can go with the array list. If you want certain operations, we go with the linked list. For example, see a linked list, array list mainly for accessing an element. I mean, like if you are using the get method, array list is the best one. If you are using the get method in the linked list, it will be like a big O of n. Now, if you are adding an element, if you are adding an element to array list or linked list, it will be the same case. Now, if you are removing something in array list, it will be mainly focused on the index numbers, right? It will try to traverse from zeroth index to till that index. So it will be like a big O and whereas in a linked list, it will directly remove that because it will be there will be a pointers inside in that. So because of that, it will be an easy adding an element also easy in the linked list when it compares to the array list. So like I was saying, let's mix and match. So certain operations are based in the linked list, certain operations are based in a array list.
Okay, so understood. So what is actually fail fast and fail safe in collections?
So fail fast is like fail fast is the when you are trying to read something and at the same time you are trying to dump any data into the hash map, it immediately will try to throw an exception like fail fast. That is a concurrent modification exception. When it comes to that, in order to override that, we have this concurrent hash map that is a fail safe. It is to accept the reading as well as the inputting the data into the elements into the hash map.
Okay, can you explain me about the hash collation on in hash map and how it takes care of hash collation?
Hash collision in hash map.
Yeah.
It's like how exactly? I mean, like see, collision means see. For I'm not sure which key will get the collision, but I can explain you the general concept of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For example, usually in hash map we'll have a buckets, right? Each bucket will contain the four nodes. Now, based on that, in that four nodes, it will have the address of the previous node, address of the next node, and then key and value. So there might be a possibility that there might be a possibility that keys might get the same hash code. Key pair value might get the same hash code. In that case, what will it do? It will try to store the values in the same bucket in a linked list manner. So if the hash collision happen, so that is the main thing inside the hash map.
Okay, if hash collation happens, how it will identify the correct key?
It will be having that let me say it will be having that hash code, right? So
Okay.
based on that, it will try to find out that, and the nodes will be interconnected to one. I believe that's why that way it can able to identify the value that we are looking into and fetch that exact one.
Okay, what is the use of volatile keyword?
So consider we are using the multiple threads. Okay, so this volatile keyword mainly to update the particular variable value constantly being modified by the threads.
Okay, what is the use of synchronized keyword?
to synchronize this kind of a locking mechanism in the threads whenever you're trying to share the resource between multiple threads. It will try to enhance the lock on that particular shared resource, and it will not allow other threads to enter into that shared resource until the entire thread has executed the program. So in this case, we need to use the two methods, wait and notify method, in order to communicate between the threads.
Okay, what is the difference between wait and sleep method?
So wait and sleep method are like they're kind of a same thing. I mean, like the purpose is same, but if you define the wait method, the method has to be this method has to be vacant. Like I mean, like it has to be communicated to other threads by using the notify all. Whereas this sleep, I think I'm not sure how to explain that. So this will also take the time, and it will be remain active until we lock that thread. I mean, like until we destroy the thread.
Okay, fine. So what is race condition?
Sorry,
Race condition.
sorry, I didn't get that.
Race condition. Okay, what is the deadlock?
Yeah, deadlock means, for example, there are two threads are there. Now the two threads are working on certain shared resource. Now, if we don't use this intercommunication between these threads, we will that will be enabling the deadlock between those threads.
Okay. Okay, let's just ask few basic questions on Spring Boot and Spring Framework. So, do you know the flow of dispatcher servlet?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you explain that?
So dispatcher servlet is the main front-end gate between the front-end application and back-end application. This dispatcher servlet will able to identify the incoming request and able to traverse that request to the responsible REST controller class. Once it is pushed that request to the responsible REST controller class, from there it will try to take an action. So this dispatcher servlet behaves differently in a different ways. For example, if we are using it in a Spring MVC, it will also, with the help of this view resolver, it will try to find out that page, responsible page, in order to return the response from the Spring MVC. This is Dispatcher Servlet and the view resolver all together trying to send the response from the REST controller to the front end client. When it comes to the backend, when it comes to the Spring Boot, so in the Spring Boot, we are not depends on the view, right? So it will try to send the response in the form of JSON format to the front end client, whether it can be a Postman or any other front end client that we have implemented in the application.
Okay, suppose if I want my REST API to call any view resolver, is there a way now in Spring Boot that we can call the view page from the static files?
I believe we have to use the exit of controller and addition.
Okay,
and then
got it. Yeah, correct. Got it. Yeah, got my answer. Okay. So, what are all the bean scopes we have in Spring?
We have a 5 bean scopes are there. In the latest updates, I've seen there is another bean scope has been added in the libraries. I haven't gone through that, but I know there are 5 main bean scopes are there. Singleton, prototype, session, and then global session and request. There is another thing has been added in the socket scope is there, but I haven't gone through that.
Okay. So, how do you handle exceptions in Spring?
So by using the control advisory, by using the control advice and by using a thread of exception handling, whatever the exception that we are trying to handle, we will create a multiple methods on it. Each exception will handle each method, and also we can able to tamper the code based on that exception we are trying to throw by using this response entity.
Okay. So, can you tell me the difference between application context and bean factory in Spring?
Application context is to load the. Sorry, can you repeat that?
Application context and bean factory. You know bean factory, right?
Yes.
Application context, we have something like XML and.
Yes. See, application context is to mainly load the XML file into our application, into our main class. Once we do that with the bean factory, we can able to fetch the bean from that application file. Now, if there is any specific differences, I'm not sure because I mostly work with the programming, but
Mm-hmm.
I've got the theory part much.
Okay, what's the life cycle of Spring Bean?
We have like a file acings are there, like a creation stage and just a second, a creation, build, and it's
Mm-hmm.
been very long time. I
Okay,
have to
no
read.
problem.
No, no, just a second. Give me a
Okay, sure,
second.
sure, sure. Take your time.
Like I know three stages. One is the initiation stage, build stage, and the destroy stage.
Okay,
Sorry. Initiation, and then
okay, fine, fine. Yeah. Do you know the aware interfaces?
sorry.
Aware interfaces in Spring. There are few aware interfaces, right? Bean name aware
Um,
interfaces. Set of
and
interfaces used on the bean lifecycle bean creation during bean creation. Okay, no problem. Yeah, we'll move to another question. Do you know the difference between qualifier and primary annotations? When we can use which one?
qualifier and primary annotation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So qualifier, for example, if we are trying to create a bean of the class, for example, if we have two implementations of the interface, like we have a two classes are implementing from the assembly interface. Now we want to define which one is a priority to us. We can directly use a data of primary on top of it, or we can able to use the data of qualifier, and we can inject that bean in the construct of this dependency injection.
Okay. So, what is the use of actuators?
So actuators these actuators are mainly for logs, and it is also used in a API gateway and service registry. In order to use in this, we need to must have add this actuator so that we can able to enable that, and configuration and the health conditions of the REST APIs can be monitored to these actuators. By default, it will be only exposed to the one API, that is info. If you want to expose all the 13 APIs which is coming from the actuator, we have to do certain configurations on the application or property file. Or if you want to enable only certain of those, like you want to enable only 5 or 6, we can able to do certain configuration in the application or property file, and that will enable those API endpoints to the application.
Okay. So, on like how do you secure your application using Spring Security or any other open source APIs or
Yeah,
anything?
we are using the Spring security only. We are using this JWT token. Whenever I want to test any story from the postman, what we have do is like we have one certain URL is there. From that URL, if you give our username, I mean like a test users will be there, right? Test user password will be there. If you use that, it will automatically create one kind of a JWT token. And we feed the JWT token inside our postman, and then we can able to test whatever the story that we want to test for 15 minutes. After the 15 minutes, again we have to recreate that JWT token.
Okay. So, what is filters in Spring Security?
So filters are like everything in Spring Security. Everything is not only Spring Security. Most of our applications are like it depends on the filters only. As far
Okay.
as I'm saying. So each filter is going to define what kind of action that we are trying to take. So this defines what is the action user is trying to act. So just like that, in the Spring also we have like a many more filters are there. For example, like Spring Security filter is a one. It will try to do certain kind of operations like authentication manager and authenticating it, and storing that authenticated user transaction in the Spring Security context. So these are all actions can be done by that. Like
Okay.
we have many filters like authorization filter, default login page filter, and then abstract authentication filter, username password authentication filter, basic auth filter. Like many other filters are there. And also we have a third party filters also can be added to our application if it is required.
Okay. So, do you have a authorization also, or just it is authentication only? How authorization works and how it is differ from
We have
Authorization.
authorization also. Mostly we will tackle with the front end. I mean, like we have an option over there. So if we choose the user, we can able to enable the user for different roles. Based
Mhm.
on that, we can able to access the UI automatically change according to that.
Okay. 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 Let's move to few SQL side. So, what is data normalization?
Sorry.
Data normalization. One, two, like that. Data normalization.
Uh, I haven't heard about that. Like,
Okay, no problem. So, do you know how the indexing works
yeah,
in
yes,
databases?
yes.
So, can you
So for,
explain that? Yeah.
for example, if you see, main this injection concept is for the to retrieve the data way faster than used compared to the usual data retrieve. So if you use the injection on multi couple of or any number of n number of columns, so in that case we can able to fetch the data way faster than it used to be.
Okay. Okay. How have you worked on store procedures as well?
From the Hibernate.
Any like you, from your application, like have you created any stored procedures and have you executed from the application?
Yeah, in the Hibernate, we have used the stored procedures. Like we have created multiple queries on one place, and then we were able to reuse those queries a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we usually use it queries. And also, if we jump to the JPA repository layer, there we can use this as a rate of query option also is there. In that, we can directly call that method, and we can able to execute that query.
Okay. Have you involved and worked on any performance query performance improvements?
I'm not sure about it because we mostly I mean like
Explain, there is a query called explain and which will give execution plan, like query plan like that, right? Have you involved any of those kind of activities?
is it from the database? I mean
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that
yeah. SQL actually.
I don't think I have no exposure
Okay,
to
no
that.
problem, no problem. So, I mean, what's the cloud platform your project is using?
I believe it will be an AWS. So most of the cases we use this Jenkins to deploy the builds in a local environments like a test environment, QA environment. Once if we want to deploy to the pre-production SIT environments or production environments, we'll try to share the build to the DevOps team. They will try to deploy the stories to the environments.
Okay, is it container based or your application
I
is
believe
containerized?
I believe it will be a container because I see some dot files in the dot CID files in our application. So based on the what is it, sprint, if they're always trying to keep change those versions thing and everything inside that. So they will try to give us certain information. So we will tell them this is what we are going to deploy and we want this configuration. They will try to create a certain file, common file for all the branches, so we have to replace that existing one too with the new one. So that case, it will whenever we push that or whenever we give the build to them, it will automatically by certain commands they will try to deploy it. Usually it take
Okay,
for this application usually take 1 hour. I know
okay, okay,
1 hour is too much, but 1 hour this is like a for the better used case.
okay. Got it, got it. So, do you have exposure on learning the AWS concepts like VPC
I
or S3,
I, I
EC2
have
or
seen
EKS like that?
I've seen certain commands for the EC2 instance. I've done some kind of uh, I wouldn't call it as a POCs, but I was tangling around with that EC2 instance and S3 bucket. So like I was saying, I was doing certain kinds of POCs for certain applications. There I have created one front end project by using Angular, and I deploy. I mean, I can push that Angular code to the S3 bucket. Now Java code, whatever the Java code is been there, I try to push that Java build through the putty tool by copying the SSH code. Some one page will be there, right? We need to copy the paste that into our system. Once we do that, we can able to connect to the EC2 server by using the putty tool by providing certain commands over there. And with that, we can able to deploy our build to the EC2 instances.
Okay. So, what are all the design patterns you have used?
So most of the cases we use a singleton design pattern, and we'll use the database per service design pattern, and the API gateway design pattern, and then service discovery design pattern, circuit breaker design pattern, and other than that we have I have some exposure to the event-driven architecture.
Okay, so can you explain any design pattern?
Yeah, singleton design pattern is kind of each class will have a single bean for that entire operation. When it comes to the circuit breaker design pattern, consider we have a multiple microservices are there. Now, in order to monitor all this, we have this service discovery, and even though that is for just for monitoring our services. Now, when it comes to the if any microservices is failed or is failed to give the response in a given period of time, it has to be contained with this circuit breaker design pattern. In this case, it is going to give us the fallback, call us the fallback method if we don't get the response within a given period of time. And other than that, API gateway, like API gateway design pattern is if you have multiple instances of that particular service, it is very difficult for us to keep note of those port points. So instead of doing with the port points, this API gateway, what will it does? It will try to unify all the ports into a single one. Rather working on the port side, it will try to give us the ease to use it with the application name itself. So these are like configurations we usually do it in a microservices.
Okay. Have you worked on design principles like Sale, Jagne?
No, so
No, right?
no.
Okay, no problem. Have you worked on any production issues like fixing issues
Yes.
on production? Yeah. How do you handle and how do you
Usually, we have
find
this
the root
Kibana.
cause? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We have this Kibana.
Okay.
So on the Kibana, we can able to fetch the production data, not data, the logs.
Okay.
So we can fetch the logs from the Kibana and see where exactly it went wrong. Most probably 98.99% of the cases, we rarely get the production issues. We mostly tackle in the pre-production environment. Pre-production environment is mostly complete identical to the production environment only. Now, whenever we get that bug, we'll try to see how it has been passed through these environments, like the QA environment and test environment. We'll try to redeploy that build into the local environment, see if it is working fine. If it is going to working fine, we will, with the help of the logs, we will try to recreate that bug into the local environments, and we will see what exactly is going wrong, and we will try to resolve that issue.
Okay. Okay. On front end side, what are all the hooks have you used recently?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
React hooks. Can you list
Uh,
few React?
yeah. So use effect is there, use state is there, and use effect use state, and use context is there, and use reducer, I believe. So I mostly render that use effect and use context. Sorry, use effect and use state. I have seen most of the examples with the use state and the use effect.
Okay. So what is hoisting in JavaScript?
So hoisting is I think it's an alternative for the use effect. I mean, like a fetch action.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to explicitly install that into our libraries, and we can able to perform the same action whatever we can able to do it with the fetch action, and it will also give us the JSON format directly if we are rendering the data. Yeah, I believe that's what I'm aware of.
Okay. So do you know the difference between let and var keyword?
Let and
Var. VAR.
Yeah. So these two are like they used to store the store the element. I mean, like not element, value. Okay. I don't know how they call it in
Okay.
yeah. But I'll simply. I mean, like I'm beginner here. I mean, like not beginner, but I'm trying to start it. But those terminologies are kind of difficult for me to remember. Okay. So var is kind of a functional. It's kind of a global kind of a scope. It's like a instance variable in our Java class. Now let is kind of a it's kind of a local variable kind of a thing. Okay. So it will be limited to the function only, that it will be limited to the only that scope function. Now when it comes to the var, it can be used anywhere in that entire function, and can be redeclare, var can be redeclared, and the left cannot be redeclared. So yeah, I mean, like these are the main differences I see.